Good day, students. Hope you are safe and secured at home. This module is related to a continuation of module number 1. So this is module number 2, and we are going to start with the subject matter of advertising research. As you can see, we have customized and we have syndicated. Let us explain this. What is this customized? Customized research is a research done for specific advertiser, usually primary research. So we all understood that primary research are those researches that you do with hard work, with your own initiative. Like for example, you do a questionnaire survey, you design the questionnaire survey, you do a Likert scale, you get the results, or you send it to your respondents and then collect it, analyze. That is a primary research, and that is part of the quantitative research. And if you do a secondary research, meaning to say you use a research that has already been done. Okay, so for example, a certain company will do a specific research for this particular company simply because they want to strategize or a campaign for their advertising, so it is called customized research. A syndicated research, an example of this is like SWS, where during political campaigns they are being used so that politicians may know their standing in what places, because in politics it is purely quantitative, so they want to know where are their weaknesses, and particularly what is their standing or perceptions to the masses. So syndicated research is a research conducted by independent research organization and sell the data to clients. So politicians is going to buy those data that were processed by SWS. Now, let us talk about types of advertising research. So we have from previous module 1, we already know what is an applied research. So we want to know the level, or we want to identify some characteristics, and for that particular matter, we have demographics data. These are age, gender, um, salary or income, religion, status. So these are examples of demographics. Psychographics, you want to know the perceptions, you want to know the opinions, so you have to do a value, attitude, lifestyle psychographics. And of course, you have product usage and media usage pattern. Okay, so you want to identify the characteristics. All right. Competitive advertising research. By the word alone, competitive means say it. You want to know and conduct a competitor analysis. So you do a competitor research about advertising. Sometimes it is referred to as a situation analysis research. Situation analysis, you want to know what is the weaknesses of your competitor. You want to identify what are their strengths, opportunities, and threats. The purpose of competitive advertising research is to learn how much money competitors spend on advertising and what platform media they use, creative strategies, and executions. So this kind of competitive advertising research, you want to know because you want to take care of your marketing strategy. You want to do uh, some uh, some strategies that will outperform your competitors. Therefore, you need to study your competitors. And part of studying it is to get data or data of how much money your competitors are, spending in advertising. Like for example, today there is a new bath soap, Lifebuoy. So they frequently use traditional medias like television because the sphere of influence is the major islands of the Philippines, which is Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So they really concentrated their traditional media using television, internet platforms to advertise, no, their product. And you want to know what kind of media platform they are using. Are they very good in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever platform like YouTube or something like that? And usually, they do a syndicated research, meaning to say they um, tap an independent provider to do this kind of competitive research. Positioning research. Positioning research, the purpose or the objective is to find what customers think of existing products, propose new products, and competing products. This is very important because this is part of the customer analysis. You want to know the perception of the customers so that you will be aware of what is the brand image that is being reflected towards your customer. Second, it asks consumers what benefits they seek, how they use the product, or how they might use a new product, and brand-specific customized research. So this kind of positioning research is very good to analyze your customers. Again, you want to know whether the product they are using is of great benefit to them or of great value to them, and what is their opinion about your product, because as I mentioned to you, the one that dictates the quality is not the entrepreneur, but rather the one that dictates quality is the consumers. So positioning research, this is a focus group discussion, is more adequate method, can give advertiser good strategies and executions of individual ad. And focus group discussion is a qualitative research because it focuses more on the why and the how question so that you can get a specific answers from your house and your wise. So applied research, you have a message research, pre-test, of course. A pre-test is something like before, no? And a post-test is the after. So if you are doing a message research and during the pre-test, the appropriate methodology is customized research. It measures the attitude and purchase intention. No, what is this purchase intention? No, it's the consumer buying behavior process. Okay, uh, uh, it you want to know whether the purchase intention came from your your advertising campaign, and of course this pretest is done in small groups, usually 7 to 15 no consumers. That is the ideal number of members in such a group. And of course, you have the post test. It determines whether the uh, the advertising that prove effective, especially on specific conditions in pretest under artificial conditions, are as effective under normal condition. Measuring effects of campaign by measuring recall and awareness done in large groups. So the post test, you want to know what is the impact of your advertising campaign, no? The effectiveness. Again, when you say effectiveness, there is a standard or target that you set, and this is the actual. Okay, if the actual is greater than the standard or equal, it means to say that your advertising campaign is effective. Okay, Audience research. It seeks information about the size and composition of audiences of media vehicles, meaning to say the demographics, no? Are these teenage? Are these adults? Are these senior citizens? So you want to know the demographics, or you want to know whether your media vehicles or platform are good for adolescents or teenage. You want to get the age bracket of those who are patronizing your product through that kind of media. It is conducted in doing survey through large number, and there is a particular provider. There is particular provider that you are tapping to do this kind of researches. And let us. So this is the relationship of marketing research and the product life cycle. What is the association, or in what particular stages does these researches can be applied, whether it is in the introduction stage, growth stage, maturity, decline. So in the introduction or the conception stage, what is the objective? So you want to identify potential market or customers. You want to know the customer satisfaction on competitive brands, and what are the needs and its desires met. No? So in particular, what is the tools, no, that you are going to do? Maybe you can do a concept testing, a consumer attitude surveys for customer satisfaction, and a motivation research. Okay, and then in the pre-introduction stage, what is the objective? You want to know the consumer liking or product experience. You want to know the selling points. What are the key selling points, or what are the uh, benefit and features of your product, and probably the objective is the revenue growth, and you want to manage and control your ad and promo budgeting. In what particular media you want to invest more, and what particular media you want to invest less. So in the pre-introduction stage, what are the tools? You might want to use a product a use testing, packaging testing, a group interviews or focus group, a test marketing, and advertising weight testing. So this is the marketing researches and tools in that particular stages, conception and the pre-introduction. Of course, the conception is the conceptualizing of the product or service. Okay? And in the pre-introduction, this is the pre the pre testing of your product, no? All right, so uh, after the pre-introduction, you now go to the introduction stage. And in the introduction stage, there are particular objectives. Number one is the product market performance, profit realization, growth acceleration. So in product market performance, you might want to opt to use store audits, customer attitude surveys, repeat buying surveys, okay, to identify the profit realization. And growth acceleration, you may want to use advertising weight testing and motivation research. So in other words, you can see here, sometimes your tools are new, and some of the tools are being used in those previous stages. Now, with regards to growth stage, no, the objective is different. No, of course, it might be similar, it might be different. Like for example, product market performance, it is similar to the introduction stage, but in terms of profit realization. In the growth stage, it becomes now the objective of profit maximization, and there is now a objective of how do you strategically outperform your competition. So the tools on the right side may have similarity, like for example, store audit, you can see it again. Customer attitude survey, you can see it again. Advertising cutbacks, this is now new, so that you can identify on what particular investment you want to reduce, and test for new campaigns. No, this is new, and promotional test once you are inside the growth stage. And of course, when you talk about the product life cycle, this one is the okay, this one is time, no, and this one is your different cycles. So time is the question mark of when the product is going to be in the growth stage. Of course, in the introduction stage, you have to bombard your investment in advertising. That's why in the introduction stage, you cannot realize profit at all. Okay. Now, let's go to the maturity stage. The objective is sales expansion. You want to really expand, really want to capture your revenue or sales. So in that particular stage, you have to have different kinds of methodologies and tools, like product use for revised product form, package tests, customer audits, attitude survey comes into picture, the advertising and tests of new campaign. Again, as I told you before, there are tools and methodologies that were used previously on those different stages, but there are some tools and methodologies that are new for that particular stage. And of course, there is what you call strategic planning for research. Okay, of course, uh, one important planning is to identify what is that particular research problem you want to analyze. So you define clearly your research problem, what kind of information is required, and of course, how much is your budget for that particular research, like data gathering costs, the data analysis, because guys, just to inform you, doing a research is not economical. It's not simple. It's complex and very expensive. Of course, the different secondary researches or the review of later literature. No, all right. So this is the first plan, is to identify and analyze your research problem. They say that if you can really identify your problem, it is 50% solving the problem. Next is, after specifying the problem, you must have an objective. And this objective must follow the SMART ruling. It should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. No? Okay. And of course, what is your strategy after identifying the problem, the SMART objective? What are now your strategy? You define now your variables. No? What are your independent variables? What are your dependent variables? What are your what you call motivating variables? And what are your uh, mediating variables, no? And next is your research strategy, your operational definition and measurement, specifically and carefully delineated and measurable definition of the independent and dependent variables. So it is very important to identify which is your independent variable. Again, independent variable means this is the variable you are manipulating and controlling. And once you manipulate this independent variable, there is a result that will happen in your dependent variable. And of course, part of the research strategy is the validity and reliability, especially if you are using Likert scale. So one important validity and research instrument is the Cronbach alpha, no? So that you can identify the coefficient of reliability. And validity concerned whether measurement is accurate or whether it reflects the different variables such as the external validity, the phase validity, which are logical and predictable, and predictive validity, which results are verifiable using other statistical measurements. So, part of the validity and reliability, when we say reliability, we are concerned with whether the same research procedures, if repeated in similar circumstances, would give approximately same results each time. No? And sometimes they are uh, not accurate or precise. So, if you want to identify your sample size, and the sample size is the small letter n against your capital N, which is the total population of the universe, this sample size can be computed using the Cronbach alpha formula. Like for example, if your total population is 1,000, you cannot survey all of this total population, but because it will be tedious. So you will get a sample size to represent the population. Okay, and of course, with that small letter e, which is the margin of error, it is sometimes expressed in decimal points. No, margin of error is used in order for you to get a sample size that the margin of error is very small, or you can say it's negligible. So this is the Slovin's formula. The Slovin's formula of getting the sample size, no? That is Slovin's formula. SLO, Slovin's formula. Okay? And then this is very useful. This is very useful for getting the sample size. No? This one is written like this: is n equals overall, that's n, 1 plus n, close in parenthesis, is squared. No? So that arrow represents an overall division, meaning to say you have to process first the denominator before you divide it to the numerator. So there are research tactics, execution of the strategies you have selected, your data collection, how are you going to tabulate it to find the similarities and differences, to find what are the themes, what are the trends and patterns, no? So that you can have a very good research evaluation. So how are you going to treat your respondents? Of course, you must, the ideal is nothing physically or emotionally threatening or harmful to your respondents, no? And of course, the respondents should be, are never publicly associated. It should be discreet, no? And before you meet your respondents, you must be transparent to your respondents. What is the research problem you want to solve? What are the research objectives? How are the data going to be processed, and with confidentiality? So, revealing clients, never reveal the company paying for the research until after getting the subject responses. This is just a rule of thumb. So, when you are doing a research, there are some ethics also, like honesty. is the best policy. Methods describing the research in detail, giving due credit where credit is due. Of course, you have to thank your respondents, and do not falsify or manipulate the data. No, it is very important for you to provide the reliability of your data. The next is one of the part of the research ethics is errors of omission. What does it mean? Do not omit details in research report. This is my experience with some of your assessment. You are you are writing maybe 2 to 3 sentences, but in research, once you are doing an analysis, this is the most you omit to explain the details to support the facts of the report. So do not report just what what the statement or what you hear it is, but you have to explain in details so that you can support the facts. Okay, that is errors of emission.